What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Flave tank. Alright guys, so the random question of the day is going to make you think back a little bit over the past year. What was your favorite vaping device of 2018? Let me know right down there in the comments box below. So I won't be giving my answer in this video, but I do want to announce that I will be doing a year-end spectacular Best of 2018 special coming up in the very near future. The categories will include, but are not limited to, Best Squonk Mod, Best RTA, Best RDA, Best Squonk RDA, and many, many more. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And of course, let me know what your favorite device of 2018 was right down there in the comments. So the device we're going to be taking a look at today is very special and very sought after. This is the Flave tank, a squonkable RTA, an SRTA if you will. This one came to me care of my friend Miguel. I met him at CVE up in Toronto this past year, and I just want to give him a huge shout out and thank you for the hookup. He is the exclusive North American distributor of Alliancetech Vapor products, with a big huge shout out and thank you going to Alliancetech Vapor for allowing me to take a look at one of these devices for the purpose of making this video. So this is definitely a first for me. This is a squonkable RTA, or RDTA if you will. You squeeze the bottle, it fills the bottom chamber, and you don't have to squonk again for another 10 to 20 minutes. This device is currently sold out on Alliancetech Vapor's website, where it would normally go for €105 or around $120 US, which is a little bit hefty on the price tag. So if you're going to find one secondhand, make sure you're getting a good deal and not getting ripped off. But I always suggest finding an authorized retailer. If you guys want to pick one up for yourself, or you want to join the waiting list, then check out their website. Link will be on my website. Link to that will be right down there in the description below. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive down to the close-up view and take a better look at this thing. Alright guys, so as you can see, we've got our Flave tank in its original box, so let's quickly take a look around the packaging, then we'll talk about what's inside. So first and foremost, very plain and basic packaging with this one here, just a black box with the Alliancetech Vapor logo and the Flave tank. On the top here we have, once again, the Alliancetech Vapor logo, Flave tank batch number 2, number 1402, and that is it. That's all the markings on the box, as you can see there. Let's go ahead and pop this bad boy open, see what we get inside. There it is, the Flave tank 24mm with the lovely engravings on there. We'll take a look at that in just a second here. Putting that off to the side, let's take a look underneath. And of course we get our obligatory bag O parts. Here we have the standard pin. Currently installed is the bottom flow or squonk pin. This is the standard flat pin. I'm not sure if that came pre-installed or not, but in any case you do get both in the box. And of course we have our bag of parts, which includes a whole bunch of different O-rings, and there's a lot on this device. We have 2 spare screws, nice hardy screws there, 2 spare plugs, which you'll see in a second, and that's about all she wrote. So I couldn't find an official specs list on the manufacturer's website, but from what I know about this device, it's 24mm in diameter. The tank holds 2 mils of e-liquid. It has a bottom flow and standard pin configuration. It is a single coil design secured by 2 flathead screws, and it has 2 adjustable airflow slots on either side. So let's take a quick top to bottom look at the Flave tank, starting off with the drip tip up top here. This is not your standard 510 or 810 drip tip. It's something different altogether. Much wider at the base with 2 O-rings, as you can see. Never had any issues with the drip tips falling out whatsoever. No wobble or wiggle or anything like that. As you can see, it kind of flares out towards the bottom there, and it's very similar in bore to something like the 810 tips. Nice and wide bore, carrying through all the way through the bottom there, as you can see. Very nice. As just for size comparison's sake, let's just take a look at an 810 tip next door right there. Yeah, very similar in size, I would say. Taking a look quickly at this top cap section, no O-ring on the inside lip there, so it's just held on by the O-rings on the drip tip section. You can see the nice Alliancetech Vapor logo engraved right there on the front of the cap. Very classy, very nice engravings. Just deep enough so that when you run your finger across you can feel it, but not so deep that it's kind of obvious or annoying or anything. You can see on the side the airflow slots right there, which are of course fully adjustable just by closing them off like that. You can adjust your airflow. As you can see on the inside lip of the top cap section, it does have a slight chamfer to it. Taking a look at the build deck, I've got my build still in this one so you can see exactly how I built this thing and how I've been vaping on it. Very easy to install your coils with the assistance of these little slots here at the sides. Basically makes it so you can just drop your coil into place and then screw down the 2 screws on the sides there. This little black piece here you can remove. This is your filling port for the tank. If you want to fill it from the top, you can do so like that. Unfortunately, unfortunately, nothing but needle tip bottles or unicorn bottles are going to fit that. Glass strippers are completely out of this equation because the hole is a little bit on the smaller side there. So right here we have our serial number engraved on the positive block. You can tell it's the positive because it's completely insulated from the rest of the deck. So just below the coil sits these two wicking slots, and that's where you're going to put your wick tails down into the tank. As you can see, they are slightly elongated, which means they have a little bit of breathing room for your wicks, and it also allows for juice to flow back into the tank if you tend to over squonk this thing, which is kind of a neat thing there. I'm not sure if you guys can tell from this angle, but these airflow slots are slightly angled downwards, and that just means it's going to hit the center and bottom of your coils, which is great because it just means better flavor. And with that, we have two O-rings that secure on the top cap section. No issues with those whatsoever. These are pretty much the perfect tolerance. They hold onto that top cap really nicely. Just below there, we have our little sliver of Ultem. That is your 2 mil reservoir. That's where you can squonk this thing and fill it up, and that just makes so that you don't have to squonk this thing every 2 seconds. And on the bottom here, we can see the squonk pin, gold-plated of course, and that is what you're going to replace if you want to make this thing into a standard RDTA, or if you want to change it out to the squonker, you just take this pin out right there and replace it with the other one that comes in the box. But otherwise, you can see the engravings on the bottom, very, very subtle engravings. It just says the Flave Tank 24 batch number 2 and Alliancetech Vapor. So that's all I've got for you guys in this little close-up section. Let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape on this thing, and we'll talk about it some more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the close-up section of this video. Now let's talk about my personal thoughts about this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not it's worth purchasing. Starting off with the pros, my first pro is not just flavor for days, but flavor for weeks. This thing is a flavor machine, and I will say this right now, it is my favorite RDTA for flavor hands down. This thing has really, really, really good flavor, and I don't think there's anything that can come even remotely close to this in my mind. My second pro today is that you can really give this thing a good squonk, and it's not going to leak one bit. First thing is it fills up the bottom chamber with 2 mils of juice. Then it'll fill up the juice well inside the deck. And then maybe, just maybe, if you have any pressure left in the bottle, you can squeeze a little bit out the airflow section. But that is so unlikely. It's just not even a possibility in my mind. So as far as I'm concerned, this thing is pretty much over squonk proof. And my third pro today is that this thing passes the O-ring test with flying colors. Not only do I have the mod just dangling by the top cap, but I can also shake it around a little bit and it's not going anywhere. I have zero fear that this thing's letting go. That's more than I could say about many of the devices that I've been testing out recently. And not only that, it's not too tight to the point that it's impossible to get the top cap off. It's as simple as that. And my fourth and final pro for this device is that it's very easy to build. All you have to do is just have your coil on your coil jig, drop it into place with the assistance of these little cutouts on the deck, and just screw down the screws. Very, very simple. The screws themselves are really, really nice as well. Better than any Chinese screw that I've ever used. And that is definitely something that I can appreciate because I really wrench on my screws and these hold up nicely. Alright guys, so moving on to the cons, my first con is that it's a non-standard drip tip size. It's not a 510 or an 810, it's something random that I've never seen before, and that just means you're not going to be able to just grab a random drip tip off your shelf and use it on this thing, and you're pretty much stuck with whatever they give you in the box. My second con for this device is the lack of color options. This one only comes in stainless steel at the moment, which is kind of a bummer because I personally would love to see a full black version. I've got the black cap on here right now, but the rest of the tank is still stainless steel, which in my opinion sticks out like a sore thumb. My third con today is that the more you cut off the airflow, the louder this thing gets. Now, wide open airflow, this thing is absolutely quiet and perfectly bearable, but the second you start closing it off, it gets that really high-pitched, annoying whistle. Real quick, I'm just going to pull on this thing 3 times wide open and then 3 times cut off, and you'll see what I mean. And my fourth and final con for this device is going to be a little bit subjective and controversial, but it's the price, value, and availability. Now, as far as the price is concerned, yeah, it's a little bit steep. It's $120 US, which is definitely up there. And for most people, that's an entire month's worth of vape budget. So it's hard to justify this purchase, especially considering the value. As far as the value is concerned, it's just not a lot of value for your money. You don't get an extra drip tip. You don't get an extra tank section or top cap or anything like that. I really wish they just bundled this this in with a couple of different top caps, that would have definitely brought the value up in my opinion. And last but not least, availability. We are at the end of the batch number 2 cycle and waiting on batch number 3. Who knows when that will be? Pretty much right now you're stuck just signing up for the newsletter and waiting until the 3rd batch is produced. So as far as limited availability is concerned, you're going to have to just either seek one out secondhand or find an authorized retailer, which can be difficult in and of itself. So at the end of the day, is this device worth purchasing? Would I go out of my way to pick one of these up if I didn't get this one in for review? To be perfectly honest with you guys, I probably would never pull the trigger on one of these for myself. Now, that's not saying I wouldn't be lusting after it and be incredibly jealous of the people that own them for themselves, but I just really couldn't justify something that would be more of a novelty for me personally than someone else that might get more enjoyment out of it. Now, that is definitely not saying I wouldn't recommend this product for you guys out there. If you guys are into this sort of thing, then I would absolutely recommend you go and seek one of these out for yourself. So if you guys are patient and want to wait on batch number 3, then join Alliancetech Vapor's email list. I'll leave a link to that on my website. Link will be right down there in the description below. But that about does it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Leave your comments down in the box below and check out the advocacy and my social media links right down there in the description. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and as always, vape on.